I've just learned how to project 2D information onto a three-dimensional landscape in Grasshopper really fast. And in this video, I'll be walking you through the exact same steps so that you can use it whenever you need. So if I share my screen with you, this is the particular setup that I'll be using in the rest of this video. So what this does is basically Rhino file that has some layers on it, and I have a landscape surface that I want to project onto. So the problem that we usually face is we do have two-dimensional information. We start each design process by sketching. However, when the site is too complicated or three-dimensional, it's a little bit difficult to understand the dynamics between what you draw on 2D paper and how it's implemented on three-dimensional landscape. Therefore, I learned this tool and I developed a tool related to that plugin that I just learned, and I want to share it with you. So this is my landscape that you can see as gray, and these are the layers that are associated with different colors like buildings, like zones, and so on and so forth. So if I go back to my Grasshopper script, what I start doing first is defining this B-wrap. I put this B-wrap in, and then when I put that in, I visualize it here as gray, and I put white on it, or gray lines on white surface. The next thing that I want to show you is really important thing that I learned is this plugin called Human. And within this plugin, we have dynamic geometry pipeline. It's the same with pipeline as we do in Grasshopper geometry pipeline. You basically type in here, for instance, let's say default 2. I'll be showing you something real quick. Default 2 is my layer. Default 2 is my layer. So you don't need to provide a name. And if I draw something in default 2, like let's say a curve, and I select the curve, I started to see that this curve is implemented here, right? If I select a curve, you can see that. And if I preview this off, you still have this curve in. And if I add a circle, that circle is also implemented automatically. This is native Grasshopper component. However, with this one, with the one that I discovered with Human, what I do is I get the roads with the name, roads layer. I get the type with the name as filter. You can put a name in it as well. And when you right click, listen to attribute changes, match full path, but I will go with the layer names. And when I had the roads, what this script does, basically takes the curves that you can see on the top view and projects them onto the B-wrap that I have, which is my three-dimensional landscape. And then by using the curves attributes, which is coming from Human again, like under reference, object attributes, I'm using the same color that I used for my layers and project them here onto three-dimensional surface. So a short example for this would be if I take all these curves out, except this one and having this one. So if I delete them all, you see I have nothing. But if I come over to the roads layer, and if I try to draw something, and I draw this, you see it automatically projected onto my landscape. I can have another road. I can have a diagonal road in between. I can do the same thing with the zones. I can draw a zone that is on top of my surface, and you see it's immediately put on what I'm doing. So it's kind of working in real time, you know. So you sketch something, and the things that you sketched are projected onto this three-dimensional surface. I can put this buildings on or buildings inside of these zones, and whatever you are doing in Rhino will be also transferred to Grasshopper really fast. So you can have these three buildings, and those buildings, can you see the buildings there? There might be a problem with the buildings there. Okay, so the buildings there is kind of not working. Preview this on, you see it's basically enabled, so and so forth. So maybe I delete this one more time. The same goes with the buildings. If I draw the buildings here inside of my zones, and if I copy this, whatever you do in Rhino will be directly transferred to Grasshopper. So you basically have these guys as well. By the way, if you want to get the access for this file, exercise file, and use it on your own as a template, join my school community. You can download these files by going to the post related to top to perspective tool. Well, obviously, if you add another layer, you can do the same thing. Like, let's say you want to have a park and you want to use an orange color for the park. What we can do, we can just copy this and paste and say parks, and I'll be just renaming the layer input as park, okay, to this. And if we draw something in park layer, let's say, and you see that it's already inside, so you can add all these in. If you want to develop tools as such, if you're really serious about learning Grasshopper, book a call with me with the link in description so that we can see if I can help you. I do have 5 spots open to work with me one-on-one, and I look forward to see you in one of those calls. So all in all, Grasshopper can be really useful in big scale things or in small scale things as such, where you sketch some things in 2-dimension and it's kind of reflected onto 3-dimensional landscape in that moment simultaneously. Thanks for watching this, and I'll see you in the next one.